Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Rapture Radio, WCNI, New London, Connecticut. This is Metal Dan. We've been playing a bunch of tunes from the album Fear Sick from the awesome band Inhuman Condition. And welcoming back to the show, Jeremy Kling, drummer from Inhuman Condition. How you doing, man?
I'm good, buddy. How about you?
I'm great, man. The last time I had you on, you were promoting the Absence record, man. So very cool to have you back.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You got it. If we could talk about the band Inhuman Condition really quick, if you could let our listeners know, kind of a brief history of the band. How did the band come to be? Because you've got some sick players in this band.
Okay, well, let me try and make it quick, Dan. I'll do my best.
Yeah, Cliff Notes.
So, 2019, Taylor and I were members of Massacre. We had written 14 songs and recorded them within a month and a half of us being in the band because Taylor and I are insane people.
Yeah, right.
So whatever. I mean, it just is what it is at this point. You got to embrace the crazy. So within a year, the singer, Cam Lee, ended up being, living up to his tyrant persona that he so loves. And we left, and that's the PC end of it. So it was like adios. And I personally have known Terry Butler for, my entire career, actually. I've known him for a very long time. We actually met back in like 2014, 2004, 2005, like in that area. So when we split with Massacre, I chatted with him a little bit and was like, dude, let's compare some notes, man, and he was like, I'm like, dude, I had two aces and two jacks. And he was like, dude, I had this royal flush in 91. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Mine wasn't that bad. So anyways, we got to gabbing about the music and I'm like, hey, do you want to hear the tunes? And he was like, man, I'd love to fire him over. He wrote me back and was like, wow, I love this. And I'm like, I threw like what I call a Hail Mary. And I'm like, you want to maybe play bass on it? And he was like, his exact words were, I would be a fool. Anybody would be a fool to pass up on this music. So, and then he wanted to do it full on, So Taylor and I already had the name Inhuman Condition. We wanted to name it that. That was Massacre's second second offering of music that they put out called Inhuman Condition. That was their EP. It worked out. Terry actually wrote that song. And Terry has license to the Massacre font style. So we just went for it. And the reason why we did that is we didn't want anybody to be confused. I love Florida death metal. Grew up on it. I've lived in Florida since I was 11. So I've been here, the entirety. I would have never started a Florida death metal band. No offense to anybody who does, no offense to the bands that want to. I just wouldn't have started like a tribute style band or like a worship band is what they call bands that come out, anyways, I wouldn't have done that. And so I didn't want anybody to be confused. I didn't want Taylor and I didn't want anybody to think like, oh, they just started that style band. It was like, no, this was the new Massacre. So here you are, so if it sounds like Massacre to you, then we've done good. If it sounds like early Florida shit, then we've done good. That was the point. And as far as singing, I played drums on the record, both of them, Rat God and Fear Sick. And Taylor was on Rat God, he was like, you're the singer for the band. And I'm like, no. I was like, man, what if we got like so and so? And he was like, yeah, that'd be good, but you should sing. He's like, you're one of my favorite singers in death metal. And I'm like, oh man, wow, thank you. I'm like, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I was like, but okay. So a couple weeks went by and I'm like, what about so-and-so? And he was like, yeah, they'd be great. But you're singing, less mouths to feed and it's just us, and I'm like, all right. So finally I caved and I ended up being the singer for the band. So when we tour, I just sing and we have, really great fill-in so far. I mean, I don't want to call them a fill-in. But we have really great drummers joining our ranks for live. I don't want to call them a fill-in. That sounds weird because they're not filling in for me. I'm not sick. I mean, I just don't play drums live. So
yeah, right.
So that's like kind of the long and the short of this band. So it's
Yeah,
there you go.
right on. And when you're singing now, all eyes are on you, man.
Mm.
That's got to be a trip. That's got to be different.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool shift. I've been in the back since forever. I mean,
Yeah,
my
right.
first live show with the band when I was 15 years old. I'm 40, so I mean, it's been a long time. I'm used to being in the back, so going in the front was cool. I started like cutting teeth and like just figuring out what works for me and works for me as a live vocalist, and you know, here we are.
Yeah,
So
yeah, cool. The record Fear Sick, um, help me out a little bit. It sounds like some of these songs were already written.
yep, they were.
When Rat God was released. Is that accurate? You know,
Yep.
and then so it sounds like maybe this is an extension of Rat God, or is it kind of a combination of this is where you are as a band?
Well, we had like I said, we had 14 songs. I might have said 15, but we had 14 songs written and recorded. Um, we did everything full production before Rat God. Now, when we chose Rat God, we didn't go, well, these are stronger and these are secondary. Um, we just were like, these 9 work. So we put those 9 on Rat God. We had 5 left over. We wrote 4 new ones. So the new record is Fear Sick is half and half. Half of, I wouldn't say leftovers. It was just a chunk. I guess it is a leftover, but it wasn't like a second picking. It was just like
All right.
because that would put it in a weird position, and it wasn't like it was like a B material. It was to us, we would have put it all out, but that's too much death metal. No one wants to. I don't know. Most people don't want to hear that. That's why everybody that's what a lot of the reviews we got back. They're like, I love how to the point Rat God was, and Fear Sick is the same thing. It's like
Yeah.
how to the point it is, and like it leaves you wanting to just push play and start the thing over again, and just start the thing over, which was the majesty of Slayer and Deicide and blah 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 blah. All those bands, they had like these short records that when they ended, you're like, God, give me more. Like that. I think that's my favorite part of Legion is that like by the time you get to what is it, Revocate the Agitator, that's the last track on it, and it ends, and you're like,
That's
play
it.
Satan spawned the Coca Demon, started over, and you're like,
Yeah, right.
come
Yeah,
on,
right. Yeah.
It's like I need some more of that. So yeah, so you're right. It's a half and half. It's a half and half between the two.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's a cover on this,
Mm,
Whiplash by Metallica.
hmm
I don't want to ask the obvious question, why did you cover that song? Duh.
uh, yeah.
It's an obvious choice, man, but as I understand it, there's a bunch of covers that
Yeah,
you did.
yeah, we did 5, and we
Okay.
we took so what we did with Rat God was we put it in different territories: Germany, Japan, South America, Mexico, United States. So a lot of our fans were amazing and collected all of them. And we were like, well, we knew we were doing the same thing. It was like, well, let's give them something special. So a lot of the prints of Rat God in those different territories all had a very similar layout. So what we did with this go around was we we had a cover for each specific territory, and then we then let the labels design the layouts. So it's every single territory is totally different. So you'll get a different experience depending on which one you open or which one you purchase. Or if you purchase all of them, you'll open it and they'll all have like different vibes and different looks and different feels and some different music, which is it's kind of an interesting approach that we took. I mean, it was a little bit extra, but then again, Taylor and I are
Crazy people, right?
we're for sure certifiable, but at least we can function. We're like high functioning insane people. Now we just love music, man. It's just really the long and the short of it is we just love it. That's all we do. I mean, I'm here. I'm in my studio right now, sitting here talking to you, and it's just what it is. It's all music. I got home from tour 2 days ago, and I leave for another. No, pardon me. I got home last night, and I leave for a tour in 2 days. well, I guess technically 1.5 days now, but
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about that, man. So, you came home from Europe. So you've been out on the road post COVID. How has
yep.
it been? It does it seem like it's getting back to normal?
I mean, for me, I've been like hardworking since I mean, I did that Deicide tour last August, and then I hadn't actually play. Then I went out on tour with. I hadn't played drums in forever, but I went out on tour with Inhuman Condition in September. Like I was home like 3 or 4 days, and then we went out on tour. I did another headline tour with Inhuman Condition in January, and then I was home for a week, and then I went on a 6.5 week tour with Cataclysm. I did front of house for them. They were out with Dark Tranquility.
Mhm.
I got home. I shot 3 music videos, 2 for Inhuman Condition. Oh, pardon me, 1 for Inhuman Condition, 2 for a project I have with Maurizio from Cataclysm. He's got a project called Invictus, and
Mhm.
uh, then I started festival touring in Europe with Venom. So I had May. So I basically been out then since May. I've been 6 trips back and forth to Europe, and my frequent flyer miles thank me, and my ass is upset because of sitting on so many planes. But so I mean, I've been working for a year now, solid. So I've been back for a year. So man, it really does look like. I mean, especially doing all the festivals this summer, it feels good. It feels like, hey, man, we're back. It doesn't have that like. I mean, they can maybe. It doesn't feel like a carrot's being dangled.
Yeah.
It can be taken away, but
Yeah,
we'll
right.
see. Who the hell am I? I don't run the World Health Organization, and I don't command any of that, but it looks good. I don't want to jinx it. Knock on
Yeah.
wood.
Right on. And then you're going out with Inhuman Condition. You're
Mm,
opening the Deicide Cataclysm tour, which
yep.
does make a stop here in Hartford, Connecticut, everybody.
Heck
September the
yeah.
3rd, Labor Day weekend. That's gonna be fucking awesome, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be it's gotta feel pretty good to open up that tour.
Man, top level. I've been a Deicide fan since I was 13. I was that kid in school who drew the trifiction on the folders, and Sigil Magic brought it to me. Here we are. But I mean, I really did. I drew that logo all the time, and since then, the road has led me to where the road has led me, and Taylor's obviously in Deicide, and I'm the front of house man for Deicide. So I mean, we're ingrained. So I have. I'm not only am I singing in Inhuman Condition, but I'm doing sound for Cataclysm and for Deicide. So if you do see me, any fans of this radio station, I will say hi. I won't have much time to do anything else except for maybe throw some food down my face at some point. But other than that, I'm just working. Like I said, crazy people. Taylor's the same thing. He plays in Inhuman Condition, and then he plays in Deicide, and
Yeah.
it's chaos. But here we are. Rock and roll.
Yeah, wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah, I will certainly respect you enough to let you do what you do, but I will certainly come up and say hello, man, for
Oh yeah, please
sure.
do. Anybody, I mean, I don't mind saying hi. Just forgive me if I don't stop and spend like the 15 minutes like I normally would.
Yeah,
I
right.
won't have that time.
Yeah, right. For anybody who's not a nerd, like you or I might be, can you just explain what front of house is to our listeners?
Yep. So all the music that you're hearing from the speakers and all the mix and the level and all that stuff, that would be a front of house engineer. They're at the front, and they're mixing the show. So as you hear it is what that certain engineer is designing for you to hear. So if it sounds like crap, come up and tell me it sounds bad, or if it sounds great, do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. I'm there either way. But yeah. Now it's interesting about that. So I've done front of house for years now, and I used to think the dream when I was a kid was to be up there playing. And I've played Vakken, and I've played Hellfest, and I've played in Japan. I've done a lot, and I used to think that it was all like, just I want to play. Man, then I realized after playing for doing front of house for years, and then playing for years, and then I went back to front of house, I get the same level of enjoyment out of doing front of house. It gives me the same, it fills me up the same. Like if I had a cup and it was empty, it fills it up just the same. It's the same vibe. I mean, you're in control of something so precious
Yes.
and powerful. And I mean, I just did Cataclysm. I did their whole summer festival run over in Europe. So, I mean, one of the shows we played in front of 35,000 people, and I'm commanding an incredibly powerful rig, and you get to like dump this energy all over all these people, and that's such a cool feeling.
Yeah.
And then I left them, and I flew, and I headlined a festival with Venom playing drums. And then I flew back and met the guys in Cataclysm, and we went on and did more shows. And then I flew out and met the Venom guys, and so I get the best of both worlds. And I think that both to me are equally as majestic and cool. So
you're still bringing the music to people, man.
Yeah, man.
It's just a different way.
Yeah.
And in no way am I comparing myself to a musician, but being a DJ, you're doing the same thing. You're bringing the music to the people.
Absolutely. Heck yeah.
So, yeah.
And some people are like, man, I love your playlists. I love how you put this together. And it's like, yeah, and that's what gives you your own identity. So
yeah.
And it doesn't matter who you are, you have an identity, even if you try, even if you're copying someone else's, you still have an identity. It's like, it's within something, it's within a confine. So I have, like my brother, Taylor, like I'll send him clips of whatever mix I'm doing or anything like that. And he's like, it sounds like one of your mixes. Sounds awesome. Like, I mean, I mixed Fear Sick and I mixed Rat God.
Yeah.
If people don't know that, I did that. And then in our studio right here,
right there.
I mixed both of those records. I mixed the Last Absence album. So, and my brother's like, I'll send him something. And he's like, without a doubt, sounds like one of your mixes. Sounds great, bro. And I'm like, thanks, man. Yeah. I'm like, it's there regardless if I want it to be or not. I mean, it's how I hear music. It's how you hear music and how you put it in like how you hear it and how you chain it together, like it's that's a cool thing too. Taylor also, like he picks all of our layouts and for the songs he puts like for all of our records he chooses like the running order. Like he really considers it. He's like he considers what goes with what, and like to me it's like masterful. I can't do that shit. I would just put them all together and be like, yeah, maybe this. I'm like, this is fine, right? He drops it to where it goes, and it has and that is a talent.
Speaking of that, and I gotta say this, man, I have it listed in my notes. My favorite song on the record is the last song, Where Pain is Infinity.
Cool.
I love the fact that there's some melody going on in the beginning, and then it just your screams right at the beginning of the song. It's awesome. It's a great way to close out the record.
Yeah, right. And I might have been like, let's say that fell in 3, I'd have been like, yeah, that's cool, yeah, that works, whatever. Which is fine, it would work, but like I said, he's like masterfully places these songs in order, I think, and which is a talent. It's like, that's essentially, it's DJing. You're like, you decide the layout, you decide what is going to be experienced in what order, and so it's cool. Every little thing helps, and we do like I said, we do everything. We do the music videos, we did all the layout, the design for the American release. Obviously we didn't draw it, we didn't illustrate the cover. That was illustrated by Dan Goldsworthy, we actually call him Babe Ruth, because man, he's like home run. he like blew us away with Rat God, and then he also blew us away with Fear Sick. We're just like, he actually designs all of our merch too. So when you see us out on this tour, we have a Tarantula shirt which he designed, and then our new tour shirt, which I'm not going to say anything about, but it may or may not involve the Rat God himself. So
nice.
All designed by Dan Goldsworthy. And that dude deserves an award like every step of the way. So here it is.
Very cool, man. I'll have to pick it up, man, at the show. That's going to be great.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. One last thing. You mentioned Venom a couple of times. I know there's a single out, new record coming with Venom Inc.
Yep. We actually have 2 singles out. A third one's gonna drop in what month are we in? Is it August yet?
August, yeah, it's August now.
Cool. So it drops this month, and then the record comes out shortly thereafter. I don't know if the date's been released, but shortly thereafter. So new album on Nuclear Blast. Be sure to pick that up. That record is it's cool, man. Those guys really stretched their legs and really we went in some really awesome directions. It's all very much like
Right.
so it's not going to be lacking in that. So it's pretty cool, pretty sweet.
Nice. Jeremy Kling, everybody, drummer for Inhuman Condition. Inhuman Condition, again, coming to the Webster Theater in Hartford, Connecticut, September the 3rd, Saturday night, Labor Day weekend. Everybody come out and bang your fucking head for Labor Day. I know I'll be there, man.
Yep. Heck yeah. See you there.
All right, man. Jeremy, please take care of yourself, man. Be well. And I'll give you a fist bump or whatever up at the show, man.
Perfect. Dan, thanks for having me, buddy.
See you. Got it, man. Rock on.
All your listeners, thank you guys. And, be safe out there.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Later, man.
All right.